Cayce knew your family was not a coincidence. What if you were born into your family for a reason, not by chance, not because your soul landed wherever, but because you are part of an ancient design, and your parents, your siblings, even your grandmother, they are all participants in a soul agreement you made before birth. Maybe you felt it, that quiet sense of not belonging, as if you're different, as if you're here to change something, so to break a cycle, or maybe to complete a lineage that began long ago. But why this family? Why these people? Why this emotional weight of love, pain, karma? Only one man dared to speak the answer. They called him the sleeping prophet. He spoke the language of the soul while his body slept. He predicted the stock market crash. He spoke of Atlantis, of future medicine, of reincarnation, long before it was mainstream. His name was Edgar Cayce. And one day he said, "You don't choose your family in this life. You chose them long before you were born." Today you'll discover why your soul chose a specific family, why generational trauma is not random but intentional, what your connection to your mother, your father, and your children means at the soul level, and most importantly, what Cayce really said about it. This is not religion, not psychology, but knowledge, delivered from the states where most of us merely sleep, and he spoke. Let these words sink in. You are not just a son or a daughter. You are a soul with a purpose, with a mission, with a contract. And as Cayce said, even enemies born into the same family do so for one reason: soul evolution. Family is a mirror. It is your school, your stage, and every member of it, an actor who agreed to play their role for the sake of your awakening. Why were you born into this family? Today you will find out. And perhaps you'll never look at your loved ones or your pain the same way again. You chose them, not with your mind, but with your soul. Edgar Cayce. When people go to therapy, they often say, "My relationship with my mother is difficult. My father was cold. I never felt loved by him. I've always felt like the black sheep of my family." And most therapists look for reasons in childhood, but Edgar Cayce looked deeper. He claimed, the root isn't in childhood. It's in who you were before you were born. Cayce believed that before coming to Earth, every soul enters a special state of preparation. And in that state, the soul doesn't just choose its body, gender, or birth date. It chooses its family. And it does so consciously. Sounds insane? Then listen closely. According to Cayce, family is either a continuation of old soul bonds, love, promises, vows from past lives, or a spiritual arena where karmic lessons must be played out. That's why he said, souls come together in families not always out of love, but to complete what began hundreds of years ago. Which means, you may have been your mother's enemy in a past life. You may now be the parent of a soul who once was your child. You may have caused harm, and now return to receive, or come back to forgive and release. A family is not just a biological line. It is an energetic web of souls weaving together through lifetimes over and over until the cycle is broken and healing occurs. But why choose pain? One of the most common questions. Why would I choose parents who didn't love me, who drank or abused me? Cayce's answer, you didn't choose them to suffer. You chose them to heal. The soul is not naive. It knows that pain leads to growth, that through conflict it awakens, that suffering brings clarity comfort never could. Cayce said, do not curse your family roots. They are your textbook, not your punishment. Cayce emphasized the roles of mother and father. The mother is the bridge between soul and physical life. She opens the gates to this world. The father is the karmic backbone, Through him, the soul receives either support or resistance, whichever is necessary for its mission. He also said, sometimes the soul chooses the mother for the body, but the father for the lesson. So if you had a difficult relationship with your father, it's not a mistake. It may have been the very knot your soul came to untie. Cayce's most provocative idea: we are not victims of our family circumstances, we are co-creators. He claimed that roles are assigned in advance, like in a play. And before incarnation, in what he called a soul rehearsal, agreements are made. You'll be the strict mother, so I can learn resilience. You'll be the jealous brother, so I learn to keep going. You'll leave early, so I learn to cherish love. These contracts are not forced. They are voluntary, made in love, even if expressed through pain. Every family line carries a certain energy, sometimes power, sometimes suffering, sometimes gifts, sometimes shame. Cayce said, if you were born into a family where the same pain repeats, it means you came to stop it. You are not a random passenger on this train. You are the one who can change its direction. So, what do we know? The soul chooses its family as a stage for spiritual evolution. Relatives are not random, they are co-authors of your journey. Family pain is not punishment, it's opportunity. Every role holds a lesson, and even conflict can hide love. Your family is the key to your mission. But to use that key, you must remember why you came. Have you ever caught yourself thinking that your life feels like a rerun? Like you're walking the same path as your mother or your father? As if your lineage keeps looping the same film over and over again. Lonely women, men who vanish, infertility, poverty, illness, addiction, or on the other end, suppressed potential, emotional numbness, and endless guilt. Why does it keep repeating? Why does family become a cage even when you move away, cut ties, or try to run? Edgar Cayce's answer was simple and haunting. Until the lesson is learned, the soul will return to it again. What is ancestral karma, according to Cayce? Cayce introduced a concept that few in America at the time dared to speak. Ancestral memory and family karma. He taught that a soul might deliberately enter a particular lineage because the exact lessons it needs are concentrated there. If that family history includes betrayal, the soul learns trust. War and death, the soul learns to value peace. Financial chaos, the soul learns responsibility and abundance. Control or abuse, the soul learns boundaries and freedom. For Cayce, family is an energetic system where not only DNA is passed down, but also patterns of thought, behavior, and emotional wounds. And the soul steps into that system like a training ground, sometimes to heal, sometimes to complete, and sometimes simply to endure. How do these patterns repeat? Cayce told stories of people whose lives eerily mirrored those of their ancestors. A woman who abandoned 3 children, just like her great-grandmother. A man who died in a car crash, exactly like his grandfather. A young woman who fell only for married men, just like her mother and grandmother. These are not coincidences. These are unfinished experiences that remain in the field of the family. If you don't realize you carry the burden of your ancestors, it will govern your life as fate. Edgar Cayce. One of Cayce's most powerful ideas. A soul can end the karma of its lineage, but only if it realizes it's carrying it. In other words, if your family has always carried pain, you may be the one to bring healing. If love has always meant suffering, you may be the one to create healthy, open love. If money has always slipped through fingers, you might be the first to build lasting stability, but for this to happen, there's one key. You must recognize that you're part of the system. Don't reject it, don't fight it, understand it, and look closely. Where are you repeating something that was never yours? Many people ask, why do I have to be the one to change this? Why not my parents, my siblings, someone else? Cayce answered, because you are the one who woke up, and the one who wakes up first holds the key. You feel the pull. You're asking questions no one else in the family dares to ask. You are the one who can end the cycle. It's not easy. It won't always be appreciated. But it's a mission. Cayce was clear. Karma is not punishment. He believed that was a major misunderstanding. To him, karma is energetic inertia, waiting for transformation, an emotional debt longing to be resolved, experience asking for a new choice. Karma is opportunity, not chains, but a chance. If your father left just like his father, you can be the first man who stays. If poverty haunted your family, you can be the one who creates abundance. If no one ever said, I love you, you can be the first to speak it. And when you do, the loop breaks. Cayce offered clear steps. 1. Look at your family not through the eyes of a victim, but of a seeker. Ask, what keeps repeating? What stories are passed down? What fears rule the family? 2. Find the pain points. Where has pain accumulated in your lineage? Where is there silence, shame, fear, or guilt? 3. Understand your role. Who have you become in the system? The rescuer, the rebel, the silent one, the one who suffers for all? 4. Give yourself permission to choose differently right now. Not to fight, not to revenge, but to create a new path. When you realize you are not repeating but creating, that is when liberation begins. Edgar Cayce. If you're still watching, if these words resonate, maybe you're the one who came to finish what dozens of generations could not. You are not your family's mistake. You are its evolution. In one of his trance readings, Edgar Cayce said something that moved many to tears. You were not born to change your relatives. You came to change your perception of them. And through that, to change the destiny of the entire lineage. According to Cayce, before every incarnation, the soul enters what he called the Council of Souls. It's a state where the soul views the upcoming life like a map and chooses who will be its parents, what circumstances it will be born into, and what kind of experiences will shape the beginning, not as punishment but as foundation. And often, Cayce said, we choose the most difficult parents. Not to suffer, but because through them we receive the exact energetic vibrations we need. Harshness, coldness, rigidity, distance, instability, so that we can either transform these traits within ourselves or finally realize, I can live differently. That's why, Cayce said, spiritually sensitive people often have traumatic childhoods. It's not a mistake. It's contrast. The kind of contrast that jolts the soul into remembering who it truly is. Cayce said, family members are not always from the same soul group. They may come from different planes, gathered together to learn a single lesson: trust, patience, or boundaries. That brother who humiliated you as a child, he may have been someone you abandoned long ago. And now, he has returned not to punish but to complete the cycle. And you're not the victim. You are the observer who can step out of the game. That sister you've always had tension and jealousy with, she might be your soul twin, here to mirror back to you the pieces of yourself you haven't seen. That child with special needs, they often come as teachers, not as burdens but as pure energy, whose mere presence transforms the lineage. Cayce once said, everything you lived through in your family was a beginning, but it is not your limit. The soul is not required to carry the entire weight of its lineage. You can leave your family, physically or emotionally. You can live by different values. You can create your own branch where there is no repetition, no violence, no fear, but only if you don't reject your roots. Instead, you understand them. You accept them. To Cayce, remembering was the essence of spiritual life. We don't come here to learn something new. We come to remember, who we are, why we came, or whom we are bound to, and what we're meant to do with that knowledge. When you begin to realize, your parents are part of a soul agreement. Your family line is a stage. Your pain is a challenge, not a punishment. Everything begins to shift. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are a bearer of light, even if they don't understand you, even if you've walked away. Even if you feel like the outsider, you are the one who woke up first. What do you do with this knowledge? Cayce didn't just speak in metaphors. He gave practical steps to break the cycle and awaken. 1. Thank your parents, even silently. You don't have to love them. You don't have to justify them, but you can say, thank you for playing your role. Because of you, I am here, and I'm ready to go my own way. 2. Write a letter to your lineage. Take a piece of paper. Write down everything you feel toward your family. No filters, no edits. Pour out your pain, anger, confusion, gratitude, and then burn it. It's not a ritual. It's an energetic reset. 3. Become the beginning of a new story. You are not the continuation of pain. You are the turning point. If you say, it ends with me, through me, it clears, then that is exactly what will happen. You were born exactly where you needed to be. You chose them long before you came to Earth. You made the contract. And now, it's time to understand it. If you've made it this far in the video, you've already started to remember. Today, you've discovered what Edgar Cayce said about family, soul contracts, ancestral karma, and your deeper purpose. Now you know. Your family is not a mistake, and you are not a coincidence. You didn't come to continue, you came to complete. You didn't come to repeat, you came to rewrite. You didn't come to suffer, you came to remember who you are.